let's go and try out our use of PHP arrays by writing a function. So let's write a function that takes in a list of strings and returns one big string that happens to be HTML for an ordered list with the indicated inputs as the things in the list. So if you were to give me an array with milk, eggs, ice cream, I'll return you an array with those three strings in it. I'll return you one string that's going to be an ordered list with three items inside of it: milk, eggs, ice cream. Okay. So how do we start writing such a function? Pull up a new file here. Okay, what's our first step? Yes, you guessed it. It rhymes with West races. Yeah, we're going to do some test cases first before we even start. So if the input is an array containing milk, eggs, and ice cream, exclamation point. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and call our function. What should we call our function? Strings to, I want to sort of call it things like strings to list. Okay. Although, again, we're gearing our names for other programmers who know HTML and know this is an HTML thing. So I might say that, and an HTML person would say, well, great, you have a list, but in HTML it's going to be an ordered list or an unordered list, and this is going to make an ordered list. Ordered list is kind of a lot to write. I can, OL. People know the term OL in web terms, so that's actually strings to OL. And in fact, gosh, I'm just going to call this maybe 2OL, Call me lazy, but I'm going to be really minimalist here, and I might generate a bunch of different functions that create the HTML for an OL. Another function creates HTML for a paragraph, another creates HTML for whatever, different things. I might name those as, the name of the function might be the tag that it produces. In general, you want to name a function for what it returns. We're going to go with the environmental knowledge that we're making HTML. So I'm just going to call my function OL. OL of this, what should it return? Well, what is the ordered list? Oh, yeah, okay, I looked it up. I must have an OL tag. Great. And then I have LI items inside of it. Milk and eggs and ice cream. Okay, great. I have a couple choices here. Do I want to have my LI tags like this, or do I want to have the closing tag off here and maybe the item indented like this? I can go either way, especially if I'm given much longer strings. It looks nicer if they're indented like that. So I'll go ahead and just sort of say, hey, this is the string that I'm going to create. Again, writing test cases, that's when we think about this level of detail, not later, right now. And I might go ahead, by the way, and take some of this HTML to make sure I have it right and it renders the way I like it inside my favorite browser. I might go take this, put it in a file, and then go view that in a browser and make sure it's what I want. Again, before I start writing a bunch of code and committing to this. So it turns out, yeah, an ordered list, go ahead and give it should be numbered 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, Roman numerals, upper or lowercase. Yeah, we'll go ahead and say, hey, this is going to be labeled 1, 2, 3. Okay. Great. So, oh, hey, this is going to be my actual. Okay. And then this one is going to be my desired. I'm going to, around this one, put quotes around this whole thing. Put echo statements in front of both of these. Okay, and echo desired, and I see that actually, again, it looks weird since I'm going across several lines. I'll live with that. But I have a problem that, this won't even try to compile right here. I'm going to go ahead and make those single tick marks. Okay. Let's see if this actually, I know the test case is not going to pass, but let's go ahead and make this a PHP file. There we are. And see if it actually runs. And we'll probably get a little error saying, call the undefined function OL. Okay, so no problem. I'll stub that out. I'll go ahead and say function OL, and it's going to take in, what should I call the strings that I'm passing into this function? What should I call my parameter here? Again, try to think of good names. Good names is one of the hardest parts of programming. Was it holds? People will want to say, hey, strings. Okay, and you could call it strings. Yeah, I mean, it's good to know what type it is, but strings describing what? Is it strings? Is it names of people? Is it things in a grocery list? Is it, hey, just any sort of list items? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and call it list items. In fact, that really tells me, hey, I'm being given a bunch of list items, and I need to make the list containing them. That's now really more clear. I'm going to go ahead and utilize my Web 1 knowledge a little more. The tags are actually an LI tag, so I'm giving, I'll call it LIs. I definitely want to make it plural because it's an array containing many of them, and it contains the LI stuff. They're not already in LIs, but okay. Great, I'll go ahead and have a comment saying OL. Again, somebody, the first time they read this, OL, what the heck are they talking about? Return the HTML for an ordered list holding whose items are, and I'm referring to my parameter there. And I can go ahead and say, even give the types here, an array of strings. There we are. I think that's sufficient. I'm happy with this much documentation. Tell me what types it's taking in and out. We know that from our test case below already. And give me a quick, brief description. Doesn't have to be very much about what it returns. So. Okay, now it doesn't work right now, but let's go ahead and see if this runs. And we actually get actual, hold your horses not implement. I can put a new line in there, and I can probably put a new line at the end, but hey, I already have running code. Definitely do this. Don't write a whole bunch of stuff before you try running it even once. This is called the stub function. There we are. So now, how are we going to do this? First of all, is this enough test cases? What are our knee-jerk reactions for what test cases to try? If you're trying numbers, integers would try at least 0, 1, many, and maybe fractional or negative. If we're trying strings, I might try a string of length 1, a string of length 0, a string of length many. If I'm trying arrays, I might try an array of size 1, an array. Okay. Yeah, I have an array of size many here. What about if I pass in, and now notice that making these test cases is going to be a little bit easier. I just duplicated that paragraph there. I like using Vim or VI or Emacs with VI key bindings, whatever. Using a good text editor makes your life easier, one that is good for programmers. Those that use VI or Vim key bindings tend to love them. So, okay, yeah, what if I only pass an array with one item instead of 3? Okay, just milk. Well, Yeah, it's going to be pretty simple. Still have an OL tag, li milk, and I'm just going to delete this part of it, and that's what I should get. What about if you give me an array of 0 things in it? Can I make an array of 0 items? Yeah, sure. There's calling the constructor for an array of 0 things. Okay. What is a list with 0 items inside of it? Well, it's an OL tag. I'm going to claim it really is an OL tag. It just has no LA tags inside of it. Okay. So I now have 3 test cases, 3 actual desired pairs, and I arrange them in this order. Again, if the very first one doesn't pass, it's going to be real easy for me to trace through the code. I'm not going to set up a debugger and breakpoints and stuff like that. I'll be able to trace right through. And if the first passes but the second doesn't, I'll know that the fact that the first one passes already tells me a lot about what's going on in my code. And likewise, if the first 2 pass but the last one doesn't, yeah, then I already know a lot. So, okay. Making those, everybody says, oh, test cases take so much extra time, and I've talked through this. Doesn't really take that much time. It's about the amount of time that it took to for me to go ahead and make this. The HTML for one list by hand, and if I'm not really aware to do that, and if I didn't write it out by hand, I might forget that, or I might not think about exactly how I want the indenting to look, what's good indenting for a list. Hey, that I should maybe have a type attribute here, something along those lines. Okay, so let's make sure I still run. Yep, everything's still running. I've got actual and desired. They don't match. No problem. Now we can go ahead and make them match. Okay, so how do we loop over an array in PHP? I have this array li's. Oh yeah, for each. That's right. And if you forgot that, fine, no problem. You go and look it up real quick, Google it, and get an answer real quick. For each, and it's that weird syntax, li's as, and I get to make up my own variable name here. What should I call this variable name? That every time through the loop is going to be a single list item. Oh, single list item? Well, just list item. Hey, li. In fact, this is in all your programming languages, if you're looping an array that ends in an S, and you need a variable to talk about one particular item from that array, that same name as without an S, the same noun. Okay, so this looks like it will be the loop, and I want to go through and I want to build up this entire answer so far. So I'm going to go ahead and make a string variable, ol so far gets empty string. Loop through a bunch, and by the time I end, I'm going to go ahead and say something along the lines of return ol so far, and I'll be done by the time we get to that. By the way, it occurs to me, I forgot to do something. PHP does not have my back. If I do something really stupid like misspell a variable name, I'm going to get code that runs and probably doesn't do what I want. My test cases are going to catch that, hopefully. So that's good. I'm defending myself already. But there's even another step that can make our life even easier. Oh yeah, turn on error reporting. Error reporting. Just put this at the top of every single PHP program. Okay. There we are. Starts as, so every time through the list, what do I want to add? And now looking at my test cases makes it clear. If I had milk, I wanted to go, I always have this at the beginning, no matter what. Okay, so my string always starts out like that in all cases. In fact, I can use that fact up here. I can go ahead and, oops, say, hey, it always starts out as angle bracket OL. I should probably copy paste here. Type equal 1 and a new line. Okay, so it always starts out with those characters, okay? And then I'm going to loop through and I'm going to add, every time through the loop, I'm going to add an li and one of the strings from the array and then a close li. I'm going to do that over and over and over again. So that's anything I do over and over and over again goes inside the loop. Things I only do once are definitely not inside the loop, of course. So that's what a loop is. Okay, so repeated the OL so far, going to string append onto it, and I'm going to string append, what was it? Oh, hey, I'm going to do a copy paste right there. Copy, paste, space, space, li, return, space, 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 space. Okay. And then what came after that? So this string appended to the individual list item, string appended to what came after each list item. Again, I want to be really careful. If I'm really going character for character, I don't see why I shouldn't. It's going to have that following it. Okay. So copy, and I'm going to, oops. There we are. And again, oh my gosh, this reads awful, doesn't it? Whew. Okay. Just partly the indenting that we have going on. If I want to go ahead and put in my new line explicitly, oops, I can go ahead and do that. My editor took out some of the spaces. There was a new line followed by 2 spaces, I believe, then followed by this, then followed by here. Okay. So now I can put it all in one line. Okay. Great, let's go ahead and see if we, if we're good. Let's walk through actual and desired. Oh, I don't have it. My very first test case didn't pass. The desired has this close OL, and I don't have that up here. So, and you know, right now that I think about it, I never put in a close tag. So, hey, good thing my stupidest test case in the world still saved me. Yeah. Made it real easy to figure out what the problem was. I wasn't having to go through loops or anything like that. So, I guess return OL so far concatenated with \OL. Okay, and now you know we're gonna hit more problems just in our base thing here. Our very first test case is still not going to pass. I believe actual is this. Well, maybe it did pass. Looks like it. Oh, I have a slash problem here. Is it forward slash or backslash? Should be forward slash. That I did not intend to do that, but okay. Okay, seems to be okay there. Let's go ahead and fix that to be a forward slash. Okay. Now I run those, and my very first test case, the actual string here, lines up exactly with that. Okay. And again, I've mentioned we're going to be doing this, having the program tell us itself whether or not these 2 strings are equal, because why should I have to look character for character, especially when it's going across multiple lines and getting kind of hairy. So, and I might not want to count glitches in spacing as a problem, and we can tailor our own code to do that. So, but right now we're doing this by hand. Great. Okay, and next one should pass. OL type equal 1. Oh, this doesn't look quite right. First line looks okay. The LI looks okay. Then my actual only has 2 spaces before the milk, and then it has this LI on the same line. Oh, and then this close LI is, I should have a return character after that close LI. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I have all sorts of things. So not enough spaces before the line item, weird space after, it should be a new line, and then there should be a new line after the close LI. Okay. So, should be X 4 spaces there, and then a new line, and then sorry, 2 spaces there, and there was I had 2 spaces and I need 4 spaces there. No extra space, but a new line there and a new line here. Okay, now I'm good, right? Okay. Actual desire there, that looks good here. Something looks funny. You know, if I want to, I could put a new line before or right after I could actually start my string on a whole new line. That might actually be nicer now that my outputs are spanning multiple lines. But I see that I'm still goofed up a little bit. This closing tag doesn't have a couple extra spaces. Other than that, it looks okay. And now my mini case, yeah, if I just add a couple things here and a couple things there, I think it will look like what I want. So, so on my close LI, I just need a new line and then a couple spaces in the close LI. Okay, and I go through and I look real close, character by character. Maybe I have a test harness that checks character for me. Woohoo! And now somebody raises their hand and says, whoa, Barland, you told us one of the really cool things about PHP is that we can do this variable substitution in the middle of our strings. So, hey, this OL so far, add on to it. If I want to have a string constant followed by li followed by another string constant, I don't need to go ahead and do the string append myself. I can just put the $li in the middle of my string constant. At which point the name string constant sounds a little bit odd, but the string variable, the string part constant, part not. Okay, yeah, okay, I can certainly go ahead and do that. Okay. Gosh, now, you know, in real life, what happens? You make some really stupid little minor edit, you get everything working, make some stupid minor edit, turn it in, and what happens? Oh, you introduced a problem when you did that. I don't think I introduced a problem here, I'm pretty sure I didn't, but what can I do? I can go ahead and have my test cases run again, and again, I'm annoyed that I have to check things closely, but yeah, looking at the space, everything still looks good, even though I made that change to my code there. So, I'm going to go and make one more change to this, okay? If you look at this, there are sort of three phases. There was initializing my output so far, then looping through and adding all the LIs, and then there's adding the close OL at the very bottom, when really conceptually I think there's two parts. There's the outer OL, and then there's the LIs inside. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and take this line here. I'm going to have a variable that starts off as the empty string, and I'm going to call it the LIs so far. Okay? So it's going to start as the empty string, and then that's what I'm going to string append onto, LIs so far. Okay? Add, so start with the empty string. If I loop through after 5 times, I'll have exactly 5 LIs, nothing before, nothing after. And then what I want to return is LIs so far with this part in front of it. So let me just say return string append here. And okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say my loop is just going to build up all the LIs, and then I'm going to put at the very end, I'm going to say, okay, now take my LIs so far and wrap the OLs all around. Okay, you don't need to do this. This is just sort of it makes it feels cleaner to do it this way. It feels, you know, good code is an aesthetic thing, and when you write good code, it feels better. So, okay, and we can actually go back now and sort of say, hey, we can include PHP. One of the few advantages is that we can do this string substitution in the middle of the string. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay, I've now made this kind of superficial transformation, but did I goof it up? I really could have goofed something up here. So, you know, now I am genuinely, you know, I'm like 80% sure I didn't make a mistake here, but if I did, I would not be shocked in any way. Test cases to the rescue. I just run this, and in one line I can go ahead and check that everything still looks good there. Okay, so that's the top to bottom procedure for, we're really reviewing writing a function. We're talking about writing good code, writing some defensive programming, and then including the test cases. And then, yeah, we happen to be looping over an array here using PHP's for each loop. Okay. And I like this final refactoring. Refactoring is where you rewrite the code so it works just exactly how it did before, but it's better code. I like this, making just the LI so far and then returning the OL with the LI so far in the middle. So, okay, and that was my cat.